and I'm in the front office, I can't go shut that thing off in the other room. How can I help you? Yes. Uh-huh. I believe so. Sure. Want to be the best? Look, I let all the agents do this work, but let me call one up. What's your name and number, please? Roulette. Oh, right, wallet, and you got a close eye. Okay. Margaret? Margaret? Okay, and your number? Okay. 028. Is it Orlet or Wallet? Oh, Willette, okay, I'm sorry. A French, right, that's be French. Okay, let me get in touch with you. I'll have someone call you just in a very few minutes here. That's 858-1028. Okay, thank you. Who the hell's listening is that?
Take care of it.
Peggy, how you feeling, dear? Would you want to show a house over out there on the Colley Road? Okay, let me get this. She's now called. Her name's Margaret. Okay. Okay, she is now called. You got a key for it? Willet, W-I-L-L-E-T. It's 858-1028. Said she'd like to see it this evening. No. You're not too far from it there. I'm getting interviewed right now. How long does this take, John, roughly?
How long you want to do it, an hour or 30 minutes? I've had some go 7 minutes. It's up to you. Do you want to show that house?
That's all right. I'm trying to get a key over to. I did have a key down the other office in that box by the door. Okay, all right.
Is she gonna do it?
Yeah, she's going to do it.
Is she coming down for the key?
Yeah, if it's not over in my truck or something, she's gonna come over here and get it. I don't even know where it's at.
Okay. Is that her listing?
No, I think it's, I'm not for sure. I think it's the one way out the other end of town, but they have two.
Hey, what's your real name?
John R. Not John R. Ewing, John, but John R.
E-S-T-E-P.
One P. A real big, long distance. The others, but it's pretty far out, up your way. I seen Claude the other day. I hadn't seen him in a
Saw
long
who?
time. Claude Estep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a long time.
Okay. What's the R stand for?
Rudolph, no Ralph.
Better watch it there. I'll put that down. When's your date of birth?
4526.
Okay. You are on tape 36, John. Keep that with your stuff.
Okay.
That tells whoever finds that 100 years from now that this tape is down at the Portsmouth Public Library, Portsmouth, Ohio, on tape 36, and they can go down and look at you.
Okay.
And listen to you.
Okay. I hope I can do all right.
Yeah.
I can remember some of this stuff. Some of it I think of it every day, so
Oh, do
Talk
you?
with Dover. Well, not every day, but I always have been able to throw it off my mind. Dr. White one time, the mental hospital in Chillicothe, I played Santa Claus for American Legion for, I think it was 20, out of 22 years, 21 years or 22 years, I only missed 1 year.
Is that right?
And when
You were Santa Claus?
Yeah. Oh, hell, I didn't know what was going on. That one guy pulled my beard back and said, "You ain't Santa Claus." I said, "Whoa, whoa." And I come back, it was cold. I went up on a Greyhound bus. I'll never forget that long as I live. And I said, "Well, I've been there twice, first and last time." And then, because they give them cigarettes in and everything, I was pulling his card out, that old GI bag. Hell, I said, "Hey, you damn women got too much shit in there." I'd had it there for two. And, well, we all did practically. And I mean, well, we had a whole Greyhound bus load and some cars too. And next thing I know, this other guy come up and give me a little rough time. I started going around shaking the hands and giving them candy and stuff. But they had some, the guy wasn't supposed to be in there that did this. So I was talking to Dr. White, he was, in charge of the whole hospital up there. And he said, I said, I've seen guys that wore, crack up like that. I've seen a real good friend of mine from Peoria, Illinois, his hair turned completely white overnight. And I said, if I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't believe it. And he said, well, some people has got stronger minds than others, which you know about this one. He said, you just got a good, strong mind. And brush it. He said, some of them, it lingers with them. And said, they just can't take, that kind of, and said, it was better like an automobile accident, anything, trauma. I said, it's just, they can't stand to see blood, or they can't stand a big impact, or something like that happens in their life. I said, well, my grandfather was my mentor, and I was an orphan, and I stayed with him back in Kentucky, and I remember 5 years old. I can remember easily back 5 years old on some things. And he always said, nothing is never as bad as it seems. If someone else can do it, that's smart enough to invent it. Johnny Cake, I'm no mechanic, but he was partially right on some of that.
Let me ask you a couple questions then. You told me your name, John Ralph Estep, with one P.
One P.
And you told me your birth date was wait a minute, don't tell me. Yeah, you better tell me again.
April the 5th.
April 5th. 26. Where were you born?
Over in Kentucky. And my mother died 3 months after I was born.
Where in Kentucky were you born?
Was back there, I guess, around York, Kentucky.
York?
Yeah,
What county?
It's still partially in Greenup, I guess. They say that Sergeant York had a relation or from there or something. It's just a little old hole in the wall.
You been over there?
Oh yeah, I was over there 3 weeks ago. The first time I was there about two years ago, and I felt that I was pretty close because the whole terrain and everything was changed. We used to. My grandmother was, her two brothers were doctors, and they named a hospital in Paintsville after her. Skaggs Hospital, the first hospital they had. And of course, I was 9 years old when she died in 1935. But we used to go down and take, it was very poor, but it was good people. And we would go down and take 2 sacks of corn and throw it over old Charlie, the horse, and the guy that the old grist mill there, he kept one bag and we took the other one and went back about 3 miles, or maybe 3.5 more, up some hollow, and it's just, but it was real nice. I mean,
What's your address now?
1403 Galena Pike, West Portsmouth, Ohio.
And where we are right now is your office here. You're a real estate agent, a broker, and what's this address?
This is this office here is 1550 11th Street, Portsmouth, Ohio.
Okay, and that's where we are today in your office here. And how much education did you have, John?
I went through high school and college. And now I teach college and teach at business college. I have for 30-some years, and my friend Leo Blackman was in the same Navy outfit.
Who was?
Leo
Oh,
Blackman
Leo,
was
yeah.
in the same, we wasn't together, but we was in the same outfit. It's called the Armed Guard, U.S. Navy
Mhm.
Armed Guard.
And when did you graduate from high school?
I didn't. I took GED while I was in the Navy, and then I went from there on in taking courses, USAFE courses, and then attending different colleges, and it took me 18 years, or it took my daughter 3.5.
18 years, okay. Now, are you married, single, divorced, widowed, separated, all the above? Or?
Well, just about. I'm divorced. Yeah, I've been for
Divorced.
some time.
Now, you have children, right?
Yes, I have two
And-
children.
And they are girls, boys?
One, my oldest one is a son.
Uh-huh.
He was also in Vietnam, and he lived in Florida, moved back to Cincinnati 2 years ago.
What's his name?
His name's Jay.
J-A-Y?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Jay Estep.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter's Pamela Kay.
Now, where does she live?
She's lives in Russell, Kentucky.
Okay, practically across the river there.
Yeah, not too far, about 20 minutes away. It's,
Uh-huh.
see on,
Route 23 there?
no, it's up in Belmont for one, Kenwood Hills. It was 116 Arizona, and then she leased that building, and she 116 Pheasant Court. I'm gonna get it right now.
Now, Jay, does he have children?
Yes.
Okay, what are his children's names?
Well, he had one about Kellis that died 2 years old, and he's got the he's been married twice. First one is they got Jay Martin, and he's 20-some years old now, and
That's your grandson?
my grandsons, and the other boy was Robert,
Mhm.
and
He passed away when he was...
no, it says the other man.
Okay.
And then the granddaughter, Jill, she's teaches down, she lives in Asheville.
Mhm. Okay.
Proud of them.
Now, so he has 3 children then altogether? Then.
They were the first marriage, and second marriage, he has, Jeremy and Jamie, and then one died, and he has Michael.
That's a pretty big family there. I bet, do some of those have children?
Oh, yeah.
So you are
I'm a
great-grandpa.
great-grandfather, yes. Yeah.
I like to get a genealogical
Yeah.
line here.
Yeah, that's the oldest grandson.
Now, that's Jay
Lives
Martin.
in Columbus. He's
Uh-huh.
a computer technology thing. He has a daughter, and
What's her name? Didn't know they get tests.
Yeah. I can't. The names they're different names than just normal names.
Yeah.
Like,
Not like
I
Bill
got
and
an
Sue
nephew's gonna
anymore,
write
are they?
Gus and Arrow, and this other one that's, Lord, they cheat me. And then I'll go to Robbie and the other one, come back to me.
Okay, if something pops in.
Got one boy named Ian.
Ian.
Yeah. and then-
I-N-E-N?
Yeah. And then my granddaughter, she's got Tristan, is the boy, the oldest is Rachel, and she's about 7 now.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay, enough of Jay then.
Yeah, the rest of that, they don't have any more, so that's just the grant on that side.
All right, let's deal with Pamela then.
Okay.
Now, she's your daughter.
Yes, Pamela's my
How
daughter.
old is Jay right now?
Jay, I was in the Navy,
Was he
46.
He's on 46.
I mean 56.
Okay.
Yeah, he was born in 46.
Okay.
And Pamela just turned 40. He turned 56, September 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And Pam turned 40 August 24th, so
Mm-hmm.
a couple of months ago.
Okay. Now, Pam, does she have children?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Pam, the oldest one is Jessica, and she just came back from Louisville. She's second in the state in tennis in her age group, 12, 16.
Is that right?
And I don't know anything about that myself. And the other Andrea, she'll be, she'll be 10 Thursday night.
Okay.
And that's why
You're very
I was
busy,
thinking
huh?
this might be Thursday, and I was gonna call you and tell you,
Mhm.
but then Mary told me, oh, no, that's appointment's tonight, and I said, no, it's Thursday, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So Pamela has 2 daughters?
Yes, Pamela has two.
And what were your parents' names?
Parents, my mother, her name was, Malcina was a beautiful name, I've only seen it, and I've been a title abstractor and a appraiser, and wound up before I retired as administrator for the whole state acquisition road out,
Uh-huh.
and I've only run across that name twice.
What was it now?
Malcina.
Malcina, that was your mother's name.
Malcina, she was an Atkins.
Okay, I'm gonna try and get this a little closer for purposes of sound. Okay, and her maiden name was Adkins.
Malcina Atkins.
Mm-hmm.
And my father, his name, they call him Lenny, but his name was LB. They call him, I always called him Pound for short, but he never raised me. His name was Linville Van Buren.
What was it?
Linville Van Buren. They had some of those names in that family. You just wouldn't believe. All good people. Like
Okay.
Jambridge was an uncle, and
Yeah.
Thurman. Well, that wasn't too bad. But
Well, now you said your mother passed away when you were 3 months old.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what did she die of?
She had double pneumonia, and that's when, back in them days, you know, it's different than today. But
Yeah. Did your father live long?
yes, he was 86 or 87 years old.
Okay.
And my grandparents, they lived about the same.
Which grandparents, your father's or mother's?
My father's
Parents.
parents, who I stayed with a lot.
Okay. What were their names?
His name was Jim Estep, and Grandma, her name was Nancy Ellen. She delivered over 1,000 babies. We seen some of the old doctor cases she had over there at one time up in the attic, and she named the dates. They'll go back to Kentucky and they hear my name, say, "Oh, your grandma delivered so and so, what have you." And I don't even know these people, but
Uh-huh.
it's just
And what was grandma's maiden name, do you know?
she was a Skaggs.
She was a Skaggs.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, do you know your mother's parents' names?
No, I don't. I remember my sister just passed away this past year, and they took us all over there one time, and I found out when I was working up the state, my eyes, I discovered I'm a glaucoma candidate, and I asked around, and they said, there's none in the family and I know of, and so I went to the one aunt that practically raised me, you know, well, she really did.
Mm-hmm.
And she was 97 when she died. She's born 1900, but when her leg, they cut her leg off, and that ended her.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, we all went back, and I was just a kid. I was 5 years old, and my sister, before she passed away, we used to talk about it. And my grandma Aggins was back in Kentucky and said, "Oh, what a pretty baby." She was blind.
Mm-hmm.
It was, "Oh, what a pretty nose, and what a pretty eye." Who, you know, a little kid, 5 years old. I said, "Hey," I was kind of outspoken then, I guess. I said, "You know, how do you're blind, you know?" And my sister squeezed my mouth so hard that it was kind of comical.
Well,
I found out that's where I inherited this high stuff.
do you remember what you were doing when December 7th, 1941?
Yeah, we was in high school, and we was picking up tinfoil and everything else. I guess they must have thought the world, something was happening. And
What high school was it?
West High,
West High?
they just opened it up.
Over here on the
West side.
Okay.
And came home. I know the night before, or maybe it might have been a week before, we went to church, and anyhow, the whole sky lit up, and it just looked like waves and stuff, and I came from a very religious family, a very, very devout Baptist, and Mom says, something's gonna happen, the world's gonna come to an end, or have a war or something, and gee whiz, it was this, like I say, on December the 7th, maybe a week or two after that happened. And,
When you say Mom said that, you're
yeah,
talking about...
I'm talking about the aunt that raised me.
The aunt that raised you, you
I
call her
was
Mom.
different with other people, but my aunt that raised me most of the time, that was my second mom.
What was her name again?
Her name was Louie.
Louie.
Yeah,
Louie.
Louie, that's some weird name.
What was her last name?
Talmadge Louie, and well, she was in Estep too.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But
So the sky lit up and
oh
she
yeah,
made a prediction.
oh yeah, and it's a weird thing. I got hit going into the lake. I was on the merchant ships, and she told me whenever I have an air raid, and she'd write me a letter and tell me the time that something happened. It's so weird. I never could.
She had a gift of some kind.
3 or 4 different times she did that. It's hard to believe.
Well, on December the 7th, you were, see, that's
Yeah.
a Sunday.
Yeah. And, well, then we was listening to the radio. We didn't have no TV or anything back in the days. And we heard FDR, President Franklin Roosevelt. And when that happened, it was I don't know, it was just a revolting thing. But we was all raised very patriotic and all volunteers, and because I guess my grandfather, he was I've got the gun. My great grandfather was a major in the Civil War, and he got shot 3 days after the war somewhere down close to Flemingburg, Kentucky, because they didn't have any communications then. The war was over 3 days after, so they shot him. He was an Irishman. That's where he come from, Dublin, Ireland, but I don't know where they come from different places, but that's where he came from when he hit the United States.
You had his rifle.
Yeah, yeah, all in good shape. And he married a full-blooded Indian, so Cherokee, so Carolina. So that's some of my roots, and that's.
Well, how old were you when? Let's see, 41, and you were about 19 then, weren't you?
No.
How old were you when Pearl Harbor?
Pearl Harbor, what, 16? 15, 16?
Oh yeah, that's right, you were born in 26.
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps and got kicked out because of my age, so.
Oh, they found out about it.
My sister, where she passed away, she was writing a letter. She worked for TRW in Cleveland. She says, I got a brother. My oldest brother was in the Army over in Europe. He was in England. My other brother, he's down in the Pacific. He had 11 invasions. And my younger brother has joined the Marine Corps. And,
When was that?
that was back in 42, 3, whatever it was.
Okay.
So I went immediately, I got called back to the Corps. I was in Calcutta, India, and I asked the skipper, he said, no, you're my top gunner aboard this ship. He said, it's all the branch of the Navy. He said, don't worry about it. So I'm thankful. I'm glad I stayed in the Navy.
So you joined the Marine Corps maybe in 1942, and how long were you in there before they kicked you out?
Very short time, because
Did you go through boot camp?
Yeah, I started through that stuff, and then I went through practically same boot camp up in Great Lakes.
But after you got kicked out, what'd you do, come home?
Immediately I just signed up for the Navy, and I was out of there. I said, hey, that's what I wanted. And
When did you join the Navy then?
right after.
Do you remember the date?
Yeah, I don't remember the date now, but I got right out of there.
When were you discharged?
I was discharged in 46, 7, 46.
What was your rank when you were discharged?
I was a gunner. I was a
Okay.
gunner during the.
Okay. And then you joined the Navy, and then you had a brother. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Well, I had 2 sisters and the three brothers that you know the line. I mean, not, they're not, I mean, you know them.
Mm-hmm.
And the one sister, the one that, in fact, I'm married her state right now, she's in Cleveland. She was in Cleveland all her life.
Mm-hmm.
She just went up there for the war effort because I wrote a letter that brought tears to your eyes just so that, just for the, never thought I'd ever stay this long and TRW, but she said I just come up here for the war because I had, you know, the three brothers in the service.
Mm-hmm.
And
Where did you do your boot camp?
Great Lakes, Illinois.
Great Lakes, Illinois.
Took gunnery training there and also took gunnery training, some of it, obviously, but before I left there and then down to Gulfport, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on a gunboat down there. I was there for a short time.
Did you go from Great Lakes to Gulfport?
Yes.
Was there any place in between that you were stationed?
No, I went right on out to sea then. So
Okay.
most of mine was sea duty.
And when you on your way to Gulfport, you're on the train probably.
Yes.
aren't you? Did you stop over here in Ohio? Did you have any leave?
No, didn't have no leave or nothing. Just went on in. They was really rushing them through there. About half the training and what have you. But I don't know. Is this everyone was so patriotic, and everybody, including civilians. That, you know, it's not like today, but everyone was so patriotic, and we wanted to hurry up and get over there. And then the songs they had and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I wanted when I went in. I asked to be a gunner, and I think a lot of them around this part of the country, in Tennessee and Kentucky and West Virginia, because they want to know your sports and they want to know if you can handle a rifle and all that stuff. Yeah, you know, I was raised up shooting squirrels and everything else, and I was a pretty good shot, so that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me that not be lucky if half of them come back
Mhm.
armed guard,
Mm-hmm.
which they lost thousands. And I said, well, I always looked at life, if your number's there, it's there. And I mean, I was always calm during any battle or any confrontation. Air raids, way over 100. And I always was very calm, but afterwards my stomach, nerves, everything, but I was always cool. I really can't say that I was all that shook. I made myself that way, I guess.
When you got to Gulfport then, did you go right out to sea?
No, took some gunnery training there.
Oh, okay. What kind of gun was it?
Well, we trained on along from 30 caliber, that's the smallest one, and then the 20 millimeters, which I like real well because I got raised up then pretty high in rank because I sort of went down blindfolded,
Mm-hmm.
and so many minutes at the time, and they couldn't get over it. And they had a lot of others did the same, better than me really, but I like guns, and that's what I wanted to do. I want to go and kill them bastards, and I mean, that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it for freedom and everything.
But what was the name of your ship, your first ship?
Oh Lord, I forget the first one. See, when you're in the armed guard, all you are is gunners, and we were different than the fleet. I was in the fleet later on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was in the second and the fifth fleet, but
What is the purpose of the Armed Guard then?
all they did was man the guns. That's all, and we were sitting ducks, and that's why we lost a lot of ships. And
Man the guns on what type of a ship?
merchant ships.
Merchant ships.
Uh-huh.
So that merchant ships were armed, and these are the ships
yeah.
that are taking cargo and things
Right.
back and forth to Europe.
In fact, my first ship, we sailed out after Gulfport, went up to Algiers, New Orleans, and got on this ship, and looked at what in the hell, and here it was all ammo. We had torpedoes topside. You didn't have ammunition ships close together, naturally in the convoy.
Mm-hmm.
So we just went two. So we sailed about 3:30 or 4 that morning, and the other ship sailed just right before us, probably 45 minutes to an hour, and it got blowed up right up. I mean, you can see, after we left New Orleans, I mean, a lot of people can't believe this, but while we was there on Liberty, we was down in the French Quarter. They they captured one sub there, and the Germans was had bread on them. They went ashore with the rubber rafts but there's a lot of ships with some. We always call it torpedo junction, Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, up and down the coast. A lot of people, it's hard to believe.
So there were German submarines sinking ships right off the coast of America.
Oh, hell yeah. They sunk, that one blew it up just after we no more, we didn't, I don't think we was 3 or 4 miles out when that one blew up. It was probably a mile from us or so. And
well, let me ask you this.
I was on this 5850 and it's my first call. Well, you never forget your first call. And I said, range 300, scale 50, commence firing. And we shot this damn thing. It was with no antique 5. It came off of a 1903 battle wagon. And we did, they came down from Washington, D.C. there in New Orleans and gave us a pamphlet on it. And I studied that thing and all we did was just work, train. And it was a good thing because that thing come pretty close to the scope. We didn't hit it, I don't think we did. But anyhow, it never chased us no more.
Okay. Did you have Liberty in New Orleans?
Yes, oh yes.
You weren't married at that time?
No.
Well, you'd be about 16 or 17, 18 years old.
At that time, yeah, almost 17, so almost 17.
Okay. And what does a single young sailor do when he goes on Liberty?
Oh hell, I liked booze and the women, what the hell. Like any other sailor, We had a good time, dance and that kind of stuff.
In the French Quarter even?
Oh hell yeah.
Okay.
You had to watch a lot of time. They had a lot of saboteurs back in them days.
Did they?
You had to watch a lot of the French women. They'd pull them knives on you like that. But
A French woman would pull a knife
on you? Oh hell yeah. So well, you can't blame them. All you had there was sailors, thousands and thousands of them. In the Army, Biloxi, Mississippi, you had guys around here was in the infantry. That's the first place they sent them, down to Hattiesburg and Biloxi, the first infantry, Ohio infantry, that was the first one down there. And hell, it's just, in fact, what's the name of that college, a woman's college there, and the Navy took it over for a while, to train guys with how to jump in case you got hit. And I think it was 12, 15, 20 foot, and you get off and you jump, you never dive and have your life jacket on and show you how to do it.
How to jump off a ship.
Oh my God.
If you got hit.
Yeah.
Did you jump off?
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. Oh yeah.
Scary?
Well, yeah. I never was the greatest swimmer in the world anyhow, but it makes a man out of you.
It makes a man out of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you're in the armed guard, your first time out to sea, then this other ammo ship blows up. And
Right.
what did your ship do? Your ship do? Keep
We
going?
went on the Panama and we was taking off torpedo tubes. In fact, President Kennedy, he was on a PT boat. Of course, I didn't know him from Adam, but he was in the same flotilla, and they came there and they loaded up a lot of those torpedoes, that whole bunch, and then we call him Zeke Antler, Ray Antler from over on the west side.
What's his name?
Ray Antler, he's dead now.
Ray Antler.
Him and my brother went in the Navy same time, and they played on the same team. But he was on a PT, and he was telling me about all the guys there, But I mean, to me, we was armed guard, them guys. You had to tip your hat. There's PT boats who really zip through there, and they take them on down Pacific.
Did you go through the
Oh yeah, went through. What we did, we unloaded all that ammunition, and we went over to Peru, and I got a bad sunburn. It about cooked me on the equator without, I wasn't allowed to. Then they initiated this one, we went over the equator. We went on down to Tocopilla, Chile, and loaded up with the raw nitrate, that makes explosives. It's this little bead, little white, and they had to bring it out. We had to anchor, because you're drawing 30 feet of water. We was about 3/4 of a mile from of the port, and then they would bring it out on barges. And those guys would done it by hand, and then we'd trick a winch, and if we went on Liberty there, we had to go in little rowboats.
Did you go on Liberty and
Oh,
Chile?
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was something different, very, very different.
Here's somebody.
And,
Who's this?
I don't know. Anyway, we go on Liberty, and you come back and load that nitrate, and we take it back from there to unloaded half in Charleston, South Carolina, and the other half in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
Because they had 2 powder plants during the war down there, and then, but that was my first experience.
Did you
in
fire your
action,
guns
too.
on that first?
Oh, yeah, oh.
You fired your guns that
Oh,
first
yeah.
time?
Oh, yeah, well then, probably 3 or 4 hours out when we shot that sun.
Uh-huh.
And so there was an American plane, I will forget it, we was shooting up at that, and we had a hold your fire there, you know, when you're doing something like that, you know, you're just kids, and we just, really, a lot of us were green, but we were good gunners. We had very intensive training, and I would take them, and I would say, hey, it's either your life, my life, and I know we like to cut up and everything, but we didn't get much sleep back in them days. We trained real, real hard, and it paid off in the long run, because we did real good when it come down in action.
When after your first voyage, then, did you make other voyages as
Oh,
a
yeah,
Army
several.
Guard?
Oh, yeah.
Several?
Yeah, several.
Same, usually down to Chile or other places?
No, around the world on the South Atlantic line. This was a grace line, and like I say, we'd get on different ships, but some of them stood together and went to England, Scotland.
As Armed Guard?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We got to go into ports where the fleet didn't. In other words, you might be in the Navy 8 or 10 years and not go around the world. I went around it once and a half, you know, in 2 years.
And when you went over the equator, did you join the Neptune? Or
Oh, yeah, I got that too. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah. And charts out there, because, you know, when you're on merchant ship, they don't do that in the Navy. Even then, they wouldn't do that in the Navy. But they really, those old timers, buddy, they made a man out of it. They just
Well, they did
blindfold
too.
you and throw you over there and have you stoop over and take kerosene and take rotten eggs and all kinds of stuff, and just let you have it with a big paddle, and then push you. You thought, he said, here I go, you know, and you land in the ocean, but you can see the sharks out there, you know, maybe 500 feet or 1,000 feet. Man, there's a lot of them. They said, this is it. All right, you candy asses. And I mean, and we thought, we laughed at it. We didn't think he was going to. We seen a motor launch there, and they had a little water in it. We thought, well, we just, and I even thought the same thing myself. But you got up there, you did it the old-fashioned way. Man, you went down 30. You had your life jackets on, but they just pushed you off.
They pushed you overboard.
Oh, Lord, they was like, well, we had a complement then about 20-some gunners. And you had signalmen, you had radio and 2 radiomen, then your merchant marines, and some of them, you know, from New York, everyone never been across the equator, well, they got the same treatment. And then when they pulled you back out, but they did say, no, I'm going to tell you something now. Well, this is no joke. Now, if you get down in the water, remember, hold hands and start paddling and screaming, raising all kinds of hell. And I'd scare the sharks away. Well, you know, you think they're kind of pulling your leg, but they didn't. So that's what we did.
Well,
I was a little shaky. That did bother me a little bit. I didn't want to do that no more.
that's a ritual they do when you
Oh,
cross
yeah,
the
yeah.
equator, wasn't it?
Oh my God, rotten eggs and anything that's sour just makes all kinds of stuff out. Kickapoo juice, they call it.
Make you drink it?
Okay. Oh yeah.
Well, how long were you in the merchant? Were you in the armed guard?
I guess out of the fleet back in what have you, I probably spent 18 months or so, you know, with the armed guard. I liked it. It's because it was what we call a you know, Dungaree Navy type. You didn't go dressed up all the time. I mean, Only time you dressed up was when you went on the shore. And then we went to some ports, like Lorenzo Martin, South Africa, one of the most beautiful ports, just a queen. It was neutral country, and we landed there, and that was a beautiful liberty there. Calcutta, India was very filthy, and I thought
Calcutta, India.
And Colombo, Ceylon, of Egypt, I mean, it's just some of those places, and just Iraq, those places like that. It's just Casablanca, places like that.
What, do you have any strange experiences in any place like that, or probably all strange in a way, weren't they?
Well, yeah, I knew one thing. I'm glad they showed a lot of movies before we ever left. 'Cause I was a very good boy when it comes to playing around, horsing around over there, I'll tell you. And I'd see some of that stuff, and I thought, my God, how can, you know. I mean, those are some of the...
Those movies worked on you, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Particularly when they put the door in and give it a tour.
Oh, God. Then after the armed guard, you went into the fleet, stayed
Yes.
in the fleet.
But I made several trips, and then I was also in the invasion of Normandy.
Well, now, talk about that, that'd be June 6th of 44.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So you must have been stationed in England or somewhere.
No, I was aboard a ship there too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, I mean, stationed in England, then get on your ship and go out into the channel?
No.
Is that how that worked?
No, I was on the ship all the time. We just,
What was the name of your ship?
that one there was a Badger. That was the best one I was at. And I can remember about everybody's name on that ship, and the rest of them I can't. I can just,
The Badger.
uh-huh.
What kind of ship was it?
It was a merchant ship, and it was they converted it over to a troop ship just for the war, just for the invasion only, that invasion only, Normandy. And we hauled troops from Southampton, England over to Normandy from D-Day up to about, I don't know what month it was. And I was fortunate enough to meet people around here. Andy Armister, he worked for Borden Dairy down here, and it was on 2nd Street.
What was his name?
Andy Armister, he has passed away a couple of years ago.
Andy Armister.
And his brother sang at church here all the time. And he was in Patton's army, and he drove the Jeep. And we had it all down there, and he asked anyone from Ohio. So the guy said, yeah, or Gunnery also Top said, he's from Ohio. Where's he from? He said, some heck town, I don't know, Portsmouth, something like that. And he said, I said, what's that? What do you want there, soldier? And he was down on the dock, and we was loading up. So after I found out who he was, you know, he come up, and of course they just took us into the briefing room and told us where we was going. And of course, I, you know, young at that time, I always liked geography, and I knew I didn't think it was going to be that bloody or that big a thing, but you'll ever find out. Anyway, he come aboard, and they was calling off names on the ship, and he came, and we was, the General Eisenhower, we had 20-some colonels and 2 generals aboard, and we had General Montgomery's, some of his staff, and the sergeant who drove his Jeep too. We had all them aboard. And so I told Andy, I said, Andy, I tell you what, I got a cabin next to the skipper's, and I said, you can sleep in there. You're going to eat steaks, buddy, when you're aboard here. Because armed guard, it was like the submarine fleet. I mean, we eat off plates, and they served us on meals, on plates, like you would home. You got your steak however way you wanted it, because, you know, we were gunners, man. But you guys are protecting us, and that's one thing I like. It's just like home. I mean, hell,
you ate well.
The fleet starves you to death, you know. And but I knew Grover Conley Jr. He was on guard, and he went in just Maybe 6 weeks or so before I did. That's Helen Sarasso, brother. And we were raised up next door to each other, you know, practically. And then his other brother, Bill, he was down in the Marshalls when I was down there. And Kelly, I seen him with California. It's a small world, you know, be away 1,000 miles. But anyway, it's...
Well, on that day, June 6th, then that would be at night. You probably went from Southampton.
Yes.
Okay.
Over, and it was so rough. The
The sea was rough.
Oh, the channel was so rough, and I was about got half seasick. It was just choppy as it could be in
A lot of soldiers get sick.
oh my God, it was, and we had them where they was on top of each other, and a lot of them knew that they had a different outlook, you know. They said, well, I know he ain't come back, so they was doing all kinds of crazy things, you know, and stealing off of each other, you know, their jackets and stuff like that, and playing cards. Some of them was having a good time playing the cards on the old army blankets and topside, and a lot of them but Andy didn't get too seasick because he was up topside all the time. And
What unit was it?
he was in Penns.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you first took over soldiers to Normandy, what unit did you take over? Do you remember?
Well, it was a lot of brass aboard that first one.
Okay.
We made several trips back from Southampton over to Normandy.
With troops?
The D-Day, we had a lot of brass aboard, like I say, 28 or 29 colonels, I remember that. And then one of them was, I think his name was Wagon Brown. And we had Eisenhower's old, I think it was a 41 Ford or something, Cooper, curved down the back and had a big star on it. And it was full of Scots. It was all missing the next day, and they lined all of us guys up, seeing the hell took it.
So Eisenhower's car was full of Scotch.
Oh, hell
The
yeah.
next day, all the
That's all
Scotch
was
was
in
gone.
there. That's all was in there. They say, I mean, that's what they told me. They
They
said,
didn't find out who took it, I think,
yeah.
did they?
No, one guy, he was kind of, like he got his knife, but you know, no one's gonna rat on anyone, and I didn't see it, but I just seen the car. I had to go down, I had to line them all up and frisk their lockers and all that stuff.
Did you find it?
No,
What happened
didn't
to it?
look too damn hard, huh?
You didn't look hard.
Hey, we were blood brothers. I mean, man, I tell you what, it's just, when you're in war like that, like you say, you know.
But when you take these over, did you actually see the invasion
Oh my God, yeah.
right there?
Oh yeah.
How close did you get to the beach?
Very, very close. Because see, then when we got there, we took them. Eisenhower, I think it was called the Ancon. He was on him in Montgomery, and we had the brass. They had to make sure they got there. They wanted to, you know, myself and 3 other guys. We the one from the motor launch hauled them over there.
Hauled them onto the beach?
Yeah, no, to the Ancon.
All over the income, the other
Yeah,
ship.
Right, where they were at, they was getting all the orders. But when we sailed, I think it was 5th when we started over there, because we had to turn around and come back. We didn't come all the way back, but we was about halfway. And it seemed like, I think they said we was about halfway. And I know we turned around and we hit a little Lime-Ear, an English small gunboat.
You hit it?
Yeah, and because it kept on saying, oh, I said, it was so foggy, he said, oh, I say, mate, full speed astern, about that time. Oh, you bloody, you know, and hell, we had to pick them guys up. And, but anyway, no,
Well, you got up to the beach there then?
oh, yeah.
Did you bring back wounded? And
Oh, yeah, but and some of the people we took over there, you know, because I always would like to meet everybody that could, but some of them, I know we took over, one guy who was out of New Jersey there, and he was quite a talker, and he's a comedian. He's up in front of everyone trying to, and he got it.
what do you mean he got killed?
He got killed, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I look back, you know, I was always fairly calm, and I know the bombs were going all over the damn place. I never talk about this, but it was bringing the ship out of the water. Planes were just strafing the hell out of us, and we were shooting them some of the bitches down. But and I thought of that. It's just like in school, Star Spangled Banner.
Is that right?
So Skipper said, "What the hell are you smiling out there, Long John?" I was in the gun, and I said, "Well, my grandpa taught me something. I think everybody's the same. And if you're gonna die, die with a smile on your face." And I said, "I'm gonna kill him, son of a bitches." And about that time, this fighter plane come by, they say I got it. I know he was so close, I don't know how the hell anyone could miss him.
Was this on D-Day or
Yeah.
another day? Okay.
In the cockpit, all my tracers are going in there, but so was the other guys, so we all, he said, no, not me. We all did, hell, I mean, we set up garages and stuff like that. You know, you had several hundred ships there, and when they did come over, why, sometimes it was too high and out of range, or they still bombed the hell out of us, but I came out of it, I'm very fortunate to be here. A few little cuts and what have you, a few little shrapnel. I would never would take a Purple Heart because I thought it was our own flak coming down. But
Mostly,
I seen a lot of them killed, and what bothered me more, I never talked about it like the daughter said. I said, you know, I'm going to go interview. I don't know if I cut it or not. But I said, one thing always stood out is seeing people with you, and they're getting blown to pieces, their hands going here, our legs and the inside of them. But then we had, it was cold, you know, so we had this, at night there, so we had these black wool, you know, navy sweaters, but these turtlenecks and this kind of tight, and just seemed like you see them bodies coming down and getting blown off ship and wanting to come down, and then all at once you see a real white torso, you know, and you see a head going. I mean, that always kind of stood out with me a little bit for being a kid, you know. And but I said I got to be strong, and this is what I'm trained to do. And so I get down in the gun, and someone would get it. I always go to the gun. He said, "Hey, I want you to call shots." I said, "Yeah, I want to shoot them. That's what I'm over here for." And the 350s, and we had the 40s.
did you do any shore bombardment?
Oh yeah, with the big guns, yeah. Oh yes.
That's when you were supporting the infantry then?
Oh yeah. And you can't, and then on the big guns and on the wagons and the cruisers, it was there's two, they go, you boom, boom. You can't put them all at one time because on the ship, because you know, it'll rock her, you know. But I was trained on all the guns, all the big ones too. And
When you brought back wounded then from the
oh
beach?
yeah, back at Southampton and Portsmouth, we bring them back, we load up and go back again. We kept that back and forth because it's only about 100 miles across that channel.
How did the troops get off your ship?
They would, most of us would have the, like, well, we, you know, people, it's called rope, there's just in squares, you know, they just reached down and they had all that pack on there, and
That's how they got off your ship?
they got off and got on the little small landing craft. They made them in Higgins boats, they made them down here in New Orleans, and they'd take them ashore. That's what my brother was on. They had 11 invasions, I was at 4. And he
was in the Pacific?
well, he was over there too, Sicily and Salerno, so I with him, and
Oh.
we didn't know we was there together. And
Okay.
he didn't hit Normandy. He just missed Normandy. He went back down the islands, but he had 11 invasions altogether.
Is he in the Navy or?
He was Navy, yeah.
Okay.
USS Frederick Funston had a great big write-up about that ship. And Gib McNeil, he's passed away a while back. His dad had a store and out in McDermott, and he said, "I run across your brother Lanky." I was in New York. We just come back from an invasion, and here he was there. He said he was all lit up like a Christmas tree and wanted to fight me. And I said, "Hey, Lanky, you remember me?" And So I had a hell of a time, and I got connections, and of course, you didn't have your numbers, you had to be careful. But we had different ways of doing this and that, and I went out and said, here, my brother's on the fence, in this wave sheet, so I'm supposed to do this, but I went over to Brooklyn where they was tied up, and they was pulling away, mooring away when I got there, and I didn't see him.
Your brother was on the ship as it was pulling away.
Yeah. So this thing you never forget during that time. But there's a lot of good times with it. I mean, a lot of, like I say, very supportive. I thought the people was back home, and women was working like crazy in the shipyards and everything, and we'd take our guns, we'd come into Baltimore somewhere, and we'd take in big guns and get the sights and look up and wave at the women and all that stuff. Well, you know, we had dancing here and there, and had USOs and all that stuff. So in all, it wasn't.
Did you bring any Germans back when you did?
No, we didn't bring any Germans back, but I was out in Shoemaker, California, and they had some there. That's where Ron Kelly, Toby Kraft, it was at Mercolia the other day. And Kelly Conley, it's Helen's really her cousin, but her dad raised this boy. And we call him Little Jude, Big Jude, but he was out there. And they gave me a gun to go down and watch the German prisoners, and you know,
Where were you then?
Shoemaker, California.
You were in Shoemaker,
Yeah,
California then?
yeah, to guard them, you know, and I went there, and I didn't like because the guys was treating them real nice. After I went through that, over in Europe, 88, that shooting at you, and I said, hell, you get your gun for a week after you do your rifle for it over Norman. And I told them, son of the bitches, I said, hey, get with it there, you know. And they come down, they pulled me off because I was getting ready to let one of them have it. And hell, you know, you just, at that time, on how you felt, because they pumped you up to kill, and you know, and the same thing about chaps, you know, they always said that's the only thing he thought of.
After the...
Hell of an experience, but you know, I would never want to go through it again, but I would rather go through it than someone never had went through it. I even want to go, I went to do the Korean too, and I went, if I could have got my boy, but he volunteered too. I didn't want him to go through that shit.
After Normandy, then, that was June 6th, did you keep taking troops back and forth
Yes.
for a while, like on the 7th and on the 8th?
Well,
how many days did you?
it took about, 2 days, the time you go on load up, it took about 2 days, 3 to load up. We was going as quick as they could shove them on there, because they had them backed up way over there in England. I know we only got one night Liberty, so if I remember right, and that damn night, the first night, you know, you want to stay ashore, we was in, they call it the cinema, theater. And they bombed that damn thing, and here I'm sitting on the back row, and people run over everyone, and one of them blitz bombs the Germans sent over. And I thought to myself, I'm going to stay here calm. I don't want to run over. The guy said, let's get out of here, Long John. I said, hell, not me. And he said, why? I said, well, they're going to run over each other. That's what they're doing. I said, what the hell can you do about it? It's already over with. We're here on the back on the corner. If the thing does come in, hell, it's going to go to the center on the side. And maybe if it goes this side, look out. But, you know, we're out here with the door, so. But
How long
I
did
come so
you?
close to a lot of stuff like
Did
that.
you? Okay. But after Normandy, then what happened? What did you do?
Wherever there's an invasion, we was there. We was carrying the ammo, we was either carrying ammunition or supplies, tanks, even hospital, you know, ambulances, the whole army type.
Were you in the Pacific invasions?
Oh yeah.
What invasions in the Pacific?
Oh, we down there, oh God, what's the name of that? Oh, I can't think of it.
Iwo
We
Jima?
we bombed the hell out of it. I mean, we shot, I know the skipper says guns, he said, I'm gonna pull rudder, and he said, when I get our broadside, he said, start shooting. And he gave me the order, and I know, it was knocking down them bamboo trees and, and then Dan Jass was coming out. I mean, you couldn't see anything. So he was kind of eager beaver, and he, I liked him, but he really took too big a chance because he won glory, I guess. And we all did, but not that way. And because he was warned for it, and he got chewed out for it. But anyhow, those jacks would come out of like sand, and you know, what are you, 5-10 foot above sea level to most right in there?
Mm-hmm.
And but they was coming out of holes and everywhere else, and some of them was even shooting their like high-powered rifles bouncing off of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow,
What was the name of that invasion? Remember?
I can't. I'm trying to think. I just got one. I got one Bronze Star down there, and then three in the Atlantic. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's just I can't think of the name of it Then one from there, I landed on a.
We're in
was it
the
a fleet? Then I was fleet. Then I was on this. Then I got on board of. What the hell's the name of it? USS Sergeant Bay is a small converted. It's a small flat top, and we would bring like around 2,000 or so people that cracked up or either had wounded from the islands back to California. I was on a very short time, and then I got aboard. Well, way before that, I was aboard the Dodge. We went around the world on that thing. Then when the war ended, I was on a minesweeper.
You're on a minesweeper.
I got it out of Pedro, out of California.
Where were you when the war ended? When I say the war ended,
Down the Pacific.
where were you when the Germans surrendered? That would have been in April.
I was
I mean,
coming,
May of
I was
45.
coming back to the States. We got with the battle, got one. We came back to the States in Baltimore and unloaded all the ammunition and everything else off of it. And then they had five that they said, well, we're going to, so we left there and went to New York and was on this troop train. And since I had a piece of an officer thing, well, they put me in charge of 2 cars, and we was going 500 and some gunners mates, all of them was gunners. And we was picking them up like in New York, and they put us on an old antique Santa Fe train or something. It was, the cars was, they had to be made before 1900. And they fed on there, but, well, I know we was coming through Fulton, Ohio, and I thought it was Fulton, Kentucky, and I looked out, you know, and there was a car, it was an old 37 Chevy, had that, and 4 guys jumped off, and this woman was driving, but we lost. Time we got to California, well, I don't know how many we lost. People just, they said, hell, I ain't going to back to Pacific and fight them. I already did all I want to over here, and it was quite. I got my butt tore, but oh, hell, you can't be guarding everybody all the time. And they was jumping off, the train was going, it was slow down. We had, and they said they just wasn't going to go back. It just, I don't know why, but I never will forget that either. That was
So the train then got to where?
California.
San Diego?
Let's see. I've been to every port, so I'm trying to get to. Los Angeles.
Do you remember the name of the ship you got on there?
Let's see. Did have it on the wall. Sprig.
Sprig.
Yeah, Sprig.
Okay.
I think it was a Sprig.
Well, now when
I was on two.
when the war ended in the Pacific, where were you?
I was Pacific, on the minesweeper.
What port were you in? Or were you out at sea or?
I'd see.
Were you?
Yeah, sweet mines, yeah.
Okay. You must have been up close to Japan then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we really appreciated, when he dropped that bomb. I mean, of course, I'm a Democrat and everyone knows that, but we have a lot of strong Republicans on there and I've seen them out since then. They said, there's one guy I had to vote for, I don't give a damn, you know. Truman did a good thing.
Well, did you end up going to Japan? Were you?
That's the closest I got.
In the mind? Okay.
Yeah.
And then where did your ship go then after the bomb was dropped? The war ended.
I came back to Honolulu again, in Hawaii there. And,
Pearl Harbor? That'd be a good port to Honolulu,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, and so we got to rest up there a little bit and come on back and I got went back to Great Lakes, got discharged at Great Lakes.
Discharging Great Lakes.
Yeah, I got discharged at Ocean City, Marine Corps unit out in California, and Great Lakes, and you know, I get it right in.
When you were discharged then, you, at Great Lakes there, you, I don't know, walk out the gate and get on a train to come home? Was that what happened there?
Yeah, and got on a train then. We had about 16 passenger trains back then going through here every day, and all my relatives except me and my brother and one uncle was all railroaders, all NW then. And of course, I got to come home free, but we got half fare. But I always, you know, they call it foreign pass. His dad, he was some kind of a boss or something up here. My real father used to be the boss over here. He was a great big man. He was like 6'6". Trucking those old stoves in over here where what's the name of this Newberry's freight house across the railroad track right here.
Don't tell me, I know what you mean. Yeah. Was it, oh, don't tell me, Railroad Express?
No, it's just an NW, just a freight house.
Okay.
That was a freight house located right there.
Okay. And so did you take the train all the way from Great Lakes to Portsmouth, Ohio?
Yes.
And you got off at the
Yeah,
train station
I
down
forget
there?
what work went through Cincinnati or Columbus. Seemed like it was Cincinnati.
Did anybody know you was coming home at that moment?
No, I was kind of a nervous wreck, and I didn't tell anyone. I was married, but then I got married while I was in the Navy. And
What year when did you get married?
I got married in, she died with cancer, let's see, February the 18th, 1945.
Okay.
Still in the Navy.
Okay. And did your wife then know that you were coming home? Nobody knew, huh?
I didn't, well, it was so hard to, a lot of them was, men crying because they said we was gonna discharge us, and they'd been there 3 days, and they wasn't discharged, and I thought, well, hell, I mean, why cry, you know? I mean, I was a kiddie crew, so I didn't wanna tell someone I was coming home for sure, and I waited to go home.
You got off at the N&W Railroad?
Yeah,
down
got
there?
a cab.
Okay, got a cab and went to the front door.
Yeah,
What happened then?
as upon the, well, it was, I mean, I had a very, very good marriage. It was just something.
Where was it? Where did you live then? Where did your taxi take you?
Well, we didn't have a home. I mean, what she did, it was a surprise to me too, and she set up housekeeping up on the first house, the old tie catch house. I think it's still there. I think Mike Moran bought it. He was in this tie catch was in the junk business up here in New Boston, and on Glenwood Avenue, that first brick house there. And she had bought the furniture and improvised.
I see.
And so her grandfather was the one started to have a shoe department. And so she was real conservative little girl. She was, I met her, she was real patriotic too. She went to the FBI and Pentagon. And we met, and so.
Was she from here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. her dad, he was Horace Patterson. Her dad come to this town, he's a superintendent when they built the golf course up in the Health Country Club.
John, did you get any decorations? I mean, you have some battle stars with you,
Yeah.
and did you get
Yeah, I got,
medals, and what did you get?
in fact, they give me the French. I was down there, my daughter made me go down there. I had never been down there because I get little, I got the French medal. He's passed out recently.
Made you go down where? New Orleans?
No, down here, Tracy Park.
Oh, okay.
I
got you now.
They had a brick down there with my name on it. I didn't even know where it was at. I've never been there. But she came down from Russell and said, Dad, you're going to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I seen a lot of the other guys up along the American Legion, life member, and also VFW. Was in Normandy too down there, and we all, every once in a while we can get together a little bit and talk a little bit. Easy, we do a lot of talking about it. In the later years, I never really discussed it. People talk about it all the way, because they want to bring back memories.
So you got the French medal?
Yeah, I got the European medal, good conduct medal, Asiatic 3 stars in the European medal, 1 in the bronze stars, and 1 bronze star in the Asiatic theater, and 2 or 3 others, I guess. I don't know.
Did you ever see anyone famous? Did you ever see Eisenhower?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh well, sure. We took him. He was greeting that general and old Montgomery.
You saw Montgomery?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see
In fact, I
Patton?
shook his hand.
You shook Montgomery's hand.
I didn't. I seen Patton at a distance because we had a lot of his people on there, but I didn't come up face to face with him. He went down to Sicily, anywhere else. Solano. I mean, but he was. Like Andy Armour said, they could have held back with him. He was quite a general. I mean.
Did you ever see any famous movie stars like the U.S.?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Who would that be?
I danced with one of them, Poet Goddard, and like Frank Sinatra. And
Did you see Frank Sinatra?
Frank, I Smoke Like He Strikes, and he used to put on that program, and he was nothing but skin and bones then. He was in New York, and they had a lung drive going on then, and they come around the ships, and they wanted to know some of the men that, had some. And I wouldn't even wear my ribbons ashore or anything. I mean, hell, unless I had to. And anyhow, the skipper said, "Yeah, we got a guy on here. We got quite a few of them." And he said, "We won't wear them." They said, "Well, we want someone to wear them." And they said, "You got more than 3?" And they said, "Oh yeah." I said, "We want him in." So we get up in front of a group, and they've selling these war bombs. I felt like 2 cents in hell. And so Paul Carter, I says, she said, "Well, we're going to have a drink here after a while." And before I went to service, I never drank. So I said, I had some George Washington, King George liquor. Boy, it's just like swallowing razor blades. And I said, well, you rich people can, have all these fancy drinks. I don't even know the names of them, but I said, I do well to drink this King George, And she said, "Well, give it here." She took a big drink out of it, and she gave me a 5th of scotch. She drinks scotch.
That was Paulette who?
Goddard.
Paulette Goddard.
And Hetty Lamar, Betty Grable.
Did you see her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some I seen overseas. Most of them I seen here in the States. But in the Warline drives in New York, I forget how many thousands of dollars they got. They would take us from the Queens and the boroughs and the Bronx and everywhere, and it lasted all day and night. Man, I didn't. And they wanted so they could sell more bonds, I guess. I don't know. We had some of them, was in crutches, and some were walkers and everything else. And I felt like 2 cents, and I was a nervous wreck myself, but I didn't want to go. The skipper said, "You go?" "Yes, sir." "Aye, aye, sir."
What did you do with your uniform? Where's your uniform?
I still got, probably got molds, but I still have my uniform, part of it.
Up in the attic somewhere?
Yeah, I seen it here a while back, some of it. I've got my, the first ship I was on was a gunboat, and we had to sleep in the hammocks.
Really?
Because the old time hammocks, when I went aboard the Constitution here about 6 years ago, we was down in Baltimore, because we had a meeting, us guys, there are only 6, 7 of us alive, and we meet every year. That was until last year. But I just seen it last week, and I got my hammock I had when I was.
You had your hammock?
Hammock, and got the one, not the K-pop life jacket we had to wear, but the kind that you had to give the troops, and we wore them too, an extra belt, had a capsule, and you pull it. I got it, it's rats or something, you eat holes in it, but it's together over here. I'm always seen that. A lot of the ports I've been around the world, you know.
Do you have souvenirs from these ports and places?
Very few. I used to have a lot. My boy went through a lot of it. When he was a kid, and just, you know how kids are. He used to take it out and lose it up in Mount Park or somewhere and give it to kids.
Oh, yeah.
But I got coins from all around the world.
Yeah.
Every port I hit, I used to save coins. Coin collector.
Did you bring back any weapons? Were you able to get back any weapons?
I tried, but you know, they would frisk you pretty good, so I'd usually have to deep six them.
Oh, really?
Throw them overboard right in New York Harbor or something.
That's
like that.
too bad, the Lugers and everything down at the
Luger.
bottom.
Goes over on Omaha Beach and you know, we're at Normandy, and Utah Beach and Omaha Beach are both beaches, taking troops. And you see these Germans, so you know, the officers, they had Lugers, and people was getting them, and yours truly did too, you know. And borrowed them in, I mean, if someone had a couple bucks, you know, even I seen them go for it.
You saw a Luger go for it?
Yeah, for a buck, yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Did you actually step on shore at Omaha
I had
and
to,
Utah?
yeah.
You
Oh,
had
yeah,
to get up
yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah. We helped take some of them ashore, you know.
Yeah.
And,
During the fighting?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
I hear you.
oh yeah. Yeah, I'm just lucky to be here. And that's the one that stays in your mind all the time, you know.
Do you have any pictures from that era, from that time?
I have a few, but not over there. I didn't take any. We wasn't really allowed to take any, and I didn't. Some of the guys did, and I wish I had them. I have some pictures that people sent me, you know, of us and what have you.
Who were these folks, these guys that you stay in touch with?
Well, E.P. Bradley is one of them. We stayed all these years. He calls me at least once a month. His first wife was taking nurses training. He was from Radford, Virginia. His dad was in a railroad too. And,
You need to get that?
nah, it's all right.
Let the machine go?
And anyway, he would come out and visit.
Now, was he on ship with you?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it was a funny thing, John, back in, I started work at state, I think, in '59, and I was praised from Aberdeen to Manchester, was my first job, really. I was staying in a brown motel, and I seen this picture. They had a plane crash up in Virginia, and 27 people was killed, and but he was the only survivor.
Oh, wow.
27. They got a monument up there where it crashed. But anyway, make a long story short, I seen his mug, it's his head going in the stretcher, and it was about 11 o'clock. It was 11 o'clock news. And I said, my God, that's EP. And we was always close. Well, in fact, we were boot camp together. And I said, my God, he went to VMI military. He's just like me. He was patriotic 1,000%. And I said, my God. And anyway, I was in my shorts. I was getting ready to go to bed. I just watched the news laying there on the bed there in the motel. I jumped up, and the guy next door said, what in the hell's going on over? I said, hey, I went up. I said, well, the Western Union closes at 12, and I got to get back to Portsmouth. That's 52 miles. I drove like hell. And they were closing the door, and I said, hey, please. I said, I just seen this guy, you know, only survivor. And I said, hell, he's closer to brother than me. So he said that cheered him up more than anything. He was up there like 2 days before they found him. He said the only thing that the bears had come out and smell a little bit, you know, and but after he was in so much pain because it broke his back, and he said he just didn't think he was going to make it. And so we see each other. In fact, he called the other day. I didn't return his call. I tried to, but they got a book out on that Piedmont first commercial. It was Piedmont's first commercial. And I bet he said, I'll know when it gets they look and said, hey, here's a telegram for you. And said, I said, hey, buddy, hang in there. And he said, I said, we went through more shit than this. And he said, it made him smile, and he said, you just hang in there. He said it made him cheer up, and he said, he said, Long John, that's Long John, my gunner.
John, do you have anything else you'd like to say? I mean, you got any tattoos you want to talk about or anything like that?
That's,
You didn't get a tattoo?
no,
You're a Navy boy?
I started to in Panama City, and that homeward bound. I said, I'm gonna get that tattoo. And they had that geek up there, and he never changed needles or anything else, and I was about maybe 6 or 7 back. And we drank a little bit. Well, my boys got tattoos, but anyhow, I got up there, and about 3 or 4 or 5 back, and I said, he's not changing needles. They told us, you know, if they're getting tattoos, in fact, you can get discharge for it. And I didn't want discharge. And that blood going all over the place, and them guys, some of them get infected, what have you. And I got thinking, man, do I really want that damn homeward bound? It's a sail ship, you know.
Okay.
I started to get it, but I didn't.
Was your son in the Navy?
No, he was in the 82nd Airborne Ranger.
Oh, he was?
Okay. Yeah, he's in Vietnam.
John, thanks for everything you did.
Thank you. And
Okay.
I got a friend of mine, he was over number 2, is old Vic Cremines. You've talked to him. I was telling him the other day,
Yeah,
that's Philip Pertus's.
let me show you
Yeah.
who I got. I know you'll recognize a bunch of these guys here. Henry Blakeman, Harry
Oh, yeah,
Luther,
Henry, yeah.
Raymond O'Rourke,
O'Rourke.
Ralph Lee, he's gone,
Yeah.
but he was in Pearl Harbor.
Oh, I know, he's in Pearl Harbor, he's Navy.
Ray Mullen,
Yeah.
he was, you know Ray?
Ray Mullen.
He landed on Omaha,
Yeah,
out South Webster.
yeah.
There's Bill Conley. Bill.
Yeah, Bill's my next door neighbor, that's Helen's brother.
Yeah.
He was on, when I was in Marshall Islands, he was there when I was there, and I didn't know it. And how you could walk from one end of the aisle in 5 minutes, I think.
Uh-huh.
But he was there, he was in Seabees. Yeah.
I got Frank Sarasso, but actually Helen came in and spoke for him. He was
Yeah.
in pretty bad shape
Yeah.
then.
You got Bill Dillo?
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
I don't know, do I? No.
Dillon.
Bill Dillon.
Oh,
Bill Dillon. That's a friend of mine. His son and father there. Who'd you say though? Bill Dillo. Is he?
Well, I was talking about Vic Cremines.
Okay. Well, okay.
You got Dan Sissel, I know.
Now Dan. He was a Navy guy in the Pacific. He's out my way.
Yeah.
Let's see. Malone, Meadows, Johnson. Dorothy Ackerman wanted to talk about Carl. So she came in and talked to him. Let's see, Boggs.
Oh, Leesburg, yeah.
Don Leesburg, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
Navy boy.
And, there's on Leash, yeah. I just seen Gene the other day doing the show.
Julia Ann McLeese. That's her brother.
Yeah.
Her brother died in
Yeah, right.
1990.
Herman. There's Herman,
Yeah,
Gene,
Herman,
Wayne. I
yeah.
saw Wayne his place.
Dave Bustler, not the other Bustler.
Yeah.
William, let's see, Paul Maple. You know
Yeah.
Paul.
And now, is this your cousin come out from my ship? We was in reserve.
That's my uncle Emil.
Your uncle, yeah, I know him. How about what was the one that was in the Navy and married a girl up here on Sheila Boulevard? And
Richard.
Richard, yeah. Someone said he passed away.
He did.
Right? Did he?
Last year.
Oh, I thought the world had. But he
Yeah.
come. I know. Are we on this thing?
Yeah, we are. That's all right.
Well, he came aboard, I doing, you know, the Korean thing.
Were you in Korea?
Yeah, and I was on, I got just there a short time, and I went to Alaska on the USS Burton Island. And we came down to, he was in California. I said, "You lucky stiff." I said, "Hell, I thought I was getting aboard a flat top, and here I get aboard this icebreaker," you know? And he was bringing, we had a court martial, some guys, something happened, and we had a court martial, and he came aboard, and all he did, man, he had it made, he drove the Commodore gig.
He drove the Commodore.
Well, yeah, well, on the little gig, you know, he brought it up, the little tiny motor launch. He would bring it up, and he visited each ship, and particularly if we had a real bad case, some guy from New York molested a real young recruit from down south. And that was the fastest discharge I've ever seen, because he said he personally wanted to do it himself. And the Henry's boss, I mean, he was Commodore. They come up there, and we come aboard, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. Of course, everyone out there standing attention, you know, you don't get that kind of brass every day aboard ship. Come up there, and they come up, he just looked at that guy, paying 6 months, you know, being punk, you know, in prison, and then disarmed and discharged. But anyhow, old people, here
comes Richard.
Here comes Richard, little Richard.
Well,
He was a character, he was. I always had that little red mustache, you know, thin, you know, he's
Right,
neat
right.
as hell. I mean, oh yeah. I sold a place up there, you know, when his mother-in-law and them, they bought a place out in,
oh, that's right.
we're out in California
Yeah.
where they play golf, Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And she told me, she's an old Kentuckian, she told me, she said, "John, that's been, what, 40 years ago or so." She said, "We bought that thing back in the 20s or 30s and got it for practically nothing. Now it's worth, you know, mega bucks." But she gave me those big Bing cherries from out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I eat 2 or 3 meals with them. I really like them people.
Let me ask you this, though. You say you were discharged after World War II, so you must have gone back in.
Yes,
to
I
go
went
to
back
Korea.
to Korea, and I
Okay.
volunteered back in
Okay.
2 years.
And you were in there for 2 years? Okay. Were you over in Korea?
I went there, and from there, they asked for
In the
volunteers.
Navy again?
Navy, oh yeah. They asked for volunteers up in Alaska, and I said, "Hey, I've never been there. I've been around the world, never been to Alaska." And I said, and there's 11 of us. And the Admiral Byrd just got off of this ship as an icebreaker. The worst, I've stayed in the Navy, but that was the worst duty. It didn't have a keel made like a football, and the motor launch would come up, and everyone gets seasick on it. And, yeah.
So you were in the Navy again for 2 years?
Yeah, almost 2 years, 23 months, what it was there.
Okay, what was that like,
Well,
in Korea?
well, I didn't see much force action down there per se. And like I say, I was a gunner. And then they wanted some volunteers, and I thought I'd get aboard a flat top and see more action.
Okay.
And because I was on the USS, you know, the Sergeant Bay, you know, it's a small. I thought you had Burton Island. Those are usually flat tops, they're converted. And I thought that's what I was getting aboard.
And you got aboard
A damn icebreaker, rust pot icebreaker. I got pictures of it.
Okay. When were you okay, go ahead and tell me what.
52 there, wasn't
Oh, you were
it?
discharged
53?
at 52?
Yeah.
What was your rank when you were discharged?
I was still gunnery.
Okay.
And then went over to, then, well, gunnery, I mean, either one, the gunner or the line officer thing, you know, the boats and stuff.
Well, let's see, I'll go through a couple more of these here. Clyde Mead,
Oh, yeah,
George
Clyde, in
Moult,
fact, just talked to him the other day. Clyde,
Did you?
last week, yeah.
and Woodrow Lyon, Woody Lyon, Bill Sekulic.
Oh, yeah, Bill, yeah.
Here's, we got Wilbur Walker, call
Yeah.
him Oogie.
Yeah, he's about to die now.
Who else would be in here? Here's the Vietnam guys. That's my Uncle Marvin. Now, he was a Seabee, I believe.
Was your dad in the Navy too?
No, my dad was in the Army Air Corps.
Air Corps. Oh,
Yeah,
I was thinking he was Navy too.
Yeah, he was shot down. He was killed in Germany.
That's what I thought, yeah, I heard that.
Huber Butler was on a B-17, and
Well, you got a lot of them, ain't you?
yeah, Eugene Russell Payton, Ralph Ward, and here's one of the women. I've got about 4 or 5 women. Emma Ruth Hazelbaker Boyd. Yeah. And let's see who else we got there. Jack Young, the attorney.
Yeah.
He was in during the Korean War. He never went anywhere, but
Yeah,
Edgar Hare. Oh, there's Ebby. Ebby
Yeah,
Kaufman.
Air Force.
Uh-huh.
His brother got killed.
Yeah, yeah. Riley.
Yeah.
There's Riley. Littleton. Paul Bloom Hall. Broomhall.
You got a bunch of them there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Cecil Johnson.
Keith Johnson.
Mhm. Susan Mark, Herbert Spence. Let's see what else. Clay Pittman was in, he's out my way in South Webster. Dick Highland, Leo
Oh,
Blackburn.
Yeah, Dick Allen, Leo, I know him real well.
Yeah, those guys. Howard Cruel. Al Bannister, you know Al.
Oh, yeah, I used to work for him.
Yeah. Riley Nestor, you know him, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And Marshall, Judge
Yeah.
Marshall.
I got with John in the American Legion.
Is that right?
JB, yeah.
Charlie Brown.
Oh, yeah, he said, oh, yeah.
Yeah. He, Don Sherman.
Yeah.
He filled it full tape. Howard Bowman, I'm sure. Richard
I
Eisner.
seen him the other day, yeah, he was
Yeah.
ensign,
Sam McKibben.
yeah.
But he.
Oh, Bernie Potts.
Bernie. Remember Reed
Oh,
Triplett?
yeah, uh-huh.
He passed away a few months back.
Yeah, the Syria one.
Yeah, but he had a good story. Eugene Duncan now. He was a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was yeah. Let's see here. Teeman.
Yeah.
Bob Teeman. Richard Brown. My tape got messed up there. Let's see. Joseph Hale.
Oh, Joe Hale, yeah. You play ball against him guys.
Is that right? Frank Moon. He's out my way. And let's see. Here's Bill Masters. He's out my way. He's a Marine.
Jarhead, what was it called?
Yeah, the Jarhead. Tom Horner. Let's see what else we got here.
Charlie Hale.
Charlie Haig. Glenn Mookie.
Glenn Mookie, yeah.
Yeah, he's up at Hillview. He and his wife live up in one of the. Remember him, Creighton Burns.
Creighton Burns, that's
Mhm.
the rings a bell. I can't-
He was a prisoner of the Japanese. He's got a hard story.
I'll tell you another guy, of course, he died too, is old Williams, you know, he married Burl Justice's daughter. He was prisoner.
What was his name?
Well, you know Williams. He sold real estate for a little different. right?
He's passed away.
Yeah. He was prisoner for a long time.
Jack Murphy, you know Jack.
Oh, yeah.
And then there you are.
There are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, John. I really
Okay.
appreciate it, partner. And keep that with your stuff and
Didn't know where I could